We're watching a very high-class player.
This is when you know AB de Villiers is at his best.
All right. It's time for 360 Live. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. First off, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification, and ask me some questions. We're going to be covering the tour of India to South Africa. It was a very interesting rivalry. It played out over here with the T20s ending up 1-1, and India winning that ODI series, and also a 1-1 draw there in that Test series. So India will probably be going home pretty happy and pretty chuffed with their performances. And they'll look back and think they didn't lose a series over here in South Africa this time around, and they go home with that ODI trophy. But no team really putting up the hand to dominate the series, and it ended up pretty much even Stevens, especially in that Test series. We're going to be covering quite a bit. There you see the scorecard, South Africa innings. Aiden Markram scoring that. I have Dean Elgar in that first Test match scoring that amazing 100. It is his final Test series, and what a player he's been for South Africa over the years. His family, his friends, his teammates, his former teammates, all very, very proud of him. And congrats, Dino. What a fantastic player. And I think the way he played at this cricket has been a great example to many cricketers around the world, always playing from the heart with a lot of fight, a lot of spirit, and playing for the right reasons always. So Dean moves on then. He didn't get the runs in Cape Town that he wanted to. But as we see the rest of that first Test match, South Africa dominating because of that big 100 from Dean Elgar, really setting it up and finishing his career in a fantastic manner there. South Africa winning that first Test match then in Centurion. I thought they deserved that. They played the better cricket. And then we moved on to Cape Town, and then things turned around quite significantly. They ran into a lively pitch. South Africa winning the toss there, and Dean Elgar being captain because Bavuma was injured. Deciding to bat first on a pretty lively wicket, which was absolutely the right call. If you look at the past Test matches that have been played in Cape Town, you bat first. But we all know that first hour of the first day is tricky, and the ball goes all over the place. If you can just survive and just get through that first hour or two, get to lunch with not too much damage, and I think Pomi Mbangwa and quite a few of the commentators alluded to that. If you just get through that first session, you really set up the whole Test match. And generally, that team goes on to win the Test match. It didn't happen that way for South Africa. They got bowled out for 55, but it shows you how significant another 100 runs would have been. Look at the scores there. India getting bowled out for 150. It could have been less, a couple of drop catches there. And then South Africa ending up getting 170 there. And India 80 for 3. And in the 80 for 3 innings, where India ended off, there were 2 or 3 drop catches once again. So that could easily have been 80 for 6. And then, I mean, if you add on 100 runs to the South African scorecard there, and it just shows you in that first day, first session, if you can just hang around a bit. And I know Dean Elgar and Markram and a few of the experienced guys would have been thinking along those lines. And unfortunately, Dean chopped onto the stumps. They were unlucky in a few occasions. India bowled exceptionally well on the majority of the dismissals, especially Siraj in that first innings getting 6. I'm very happy for him. He's my RCB teammate. And then obviously in that second innings, Jasper Bumrah opening up the gates for India, getting a 6 for as well. At the end of the day, India played the better cricket. They took the opportunity. They knew that first session was going to be the big opportunity for them. And they ran through the door, and that's the important thing. That's the game of cat and mouse. South Africa knew if they batted the first session, they would have the upper hand of the Test match, and India knew this is our opportunity to dominate this. And that's the beauty of Test cricket as well. And we'll be covering a bit more about the beauty of Test cricket and the threat that it's under because of money. And cricket has been run as a business these days. It's all about T20 cricket. We know that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everyone needs to be in a good financial space. All the cricket boards want to run the cricket system well and have enough money to filter down to the youth and make sure the cricket is in a healthy state in the countries. But do you want to let go of this beautiful format? And there we see the big controversial, the headline of the week is South Africa announced the squad. Not a lot of people recognized these names, and it's difficult for me to to comment on this. I mean, there are a lot of players. Neil Brunt, captain. I mean, even I almost fell off my chair. This is the team for South Africa that will be touring to New Zealand in, I think it's around a month from now. Largely because of the South African SA20 series, the Betway SA20. A lot of the players have signed and committed to that. And once again, it's been run as a business. The tricky part of that is when I played under Graham Smith, when I came into the system, I very quickly realized you don't just get a test cap, you got to earn it. There's a lot of players here that might be touch and go. I don't know. I'll have to ask Graham Smith. Maybe we'll get him onto a call. But that's what people are upset about. Did all these players earn the right to get a test cap? I mean, getting a test cap for your country, you need to play some serious cricket. You must probably have been through some ups and downs in your career, or you're just a very talented youngster that sort of got quite a bit of experience at an early age. But yeah, a lot of these players, I don't even know if a lot of them have played a lot of 4-day cricket. There are quite a few of them that I know well, I think, and that have earned the right to be in the side. Kaya Zondo, Sean van Berg played a lot of 4-day cricket in South Africa, and year in and year out, they are the consistent performers. And I'm not going to go through the whole list, but there are quite a few of them that have played incredible cricket. A few of them I thought don't even play anymore, that are playing overseas. So just a very interesting squad, and Cricket South Africa getting a lot of criticism for releasing the squad and letting the squad go over to New Zealand. And I think it's just sent shockwaves throughout the cricketing world, and clearly showing people that Test cricket is under pressure, and also ODI cricket for that matter, and that the whole system is turning around T20 cricket. A lot of people predicted this many years ago. I was one of them that said the ICC need to have a look at what they feel is important, need to have a look at their schedules and the fixtures that they put out. Otherwise, T20 cricket will take over and will put all the other formats under immense pressure. The players, the boards, the coaching staffs, they're all going to move to where the money is. I mean, it's you just can't blame someone for turning down the future of himself and his family. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. You get two different jobs. This job, you earn half of what you earn here. You're going to enjoy both of it. You're going to go where you get better financial security. And that leads me to Usmans Statement's statements in the last week. Compared to Test cricket, T20 is an adrenaline rush, and one that's become increasingly difficult to resist compared to the 5-day marathon of Test matches. While T20's rise undoubtedly injects excitement into the cricketing landscape, its shadow looms large over the longer format, leaving many wondering if the longest format is facing an existential crisis. And so Usman Khawaja, the talented Australian opener, has made it clear that to save Test cricket's longest format, the game's governing bodies need to ensure that the money reaches the players' pockets, or else they will end up doing the right thing for their families. This is exactly what I said, I think, about 6 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible for one player to turn things around, but at least Usman did say something. I said something 6 or 7 years ago, knowing that nothing's going to happen about it. Ultimately, cricket's run by systems at the top, the ICC, the BCCI, Cricket South Africa, and ultimately all these boards want to be in a healthy financial state. If that means they take a bit of money of T20 cricket instead of Test matches, they'll do that because it's a business at the end of the day. But I want to hear your comments, so please post your questions down below in the descriptions box. I'm indoors today. As I switched on my computer, it turned off again. I was only on like 2% battery life. So when we move on to the SA20, when I show you the teams of the SA20 later on, I will be moving outside and just to give you a little bit of a view of my last few days of holiday before I head back to Pretoria, back to reality. But yes, so that is the big issue with this cricket, as we see David Warner stepping away from it as well, also retiring from ODIs, focusing on T20 cricket. Yes, there's a T20 World Cup coming up next year. And ultimately, it makes sense for David Warner to be playing T20 cricket around the world, playing the IPL, the Big Bash, playing the T20 World Cup, maybe even come to South Africa, playing the SA20, go to England, playing in the Blast or the 100, And I mean, it's the perfect life for a cricketer. It's also not that intense. You play 20-over cricket for a living. You make a lot more money than you would if you play all formats for your country. So definitely very, very difficult times for the ICC, for all the boards around the world, to somehow keep a hold of their players, to force them to somehow play all formats. That is something I'm incredibly proud of, that I played all the formats for my country for a very long period of time before I did exactly what David Warner did. I got to the end of my career. I had some back issues. I had a family back home. I didn't want to tour as much anymore. And ultimately, I was in a position where I decided, you know what? I'll rather just play T20 cricket, maybe even play another T20 World Cup or two for South Africa, which didn't happen because it was early on in this where it was hugely frowned upon if a player did this. But now everyone is doing it. So very interesting times. And it's a shame that I didn't play another World Cup for South Africa. I wish I could do the same as David Warner and just say, you know what, but I'm still available if you guys pick me. Same with a Faf du Plessis, a Quinton de Kock, a few players that retired recently, and saying, but Cricket South Africa, hold on, I will still play if you need me. I caught a lot of criticism back in the day when I did it, but it seems to be okay these days. Yeah, tongue in the cheek. But well played, David Warner. Unbelievable career. I played with him at the Delhi Daredevils many years ago in the 2008 IPL, also 2009 and 10. He was a fantastic player from the word go, from the first time I watched him play. And he certainly put up his hand for one of the greatest all-round Australian cricketers of all time. If you look at his stats in all three formats, he's been very consistent. He played a lot of cricket matches. He won a lot of cricket matches for Australia. And you got to take your hat off to him for a fantastic career through a lot of controversy as well, ups and downs. He always just found a way to come back. He's a huge fighter. We had him on the show before. If you haven't seen that episode, go back in the archives. Have a look at us chatting during the World Cup, the 2023 ODI World Cup. We had a nice chat. Just a fantastic player, and well done to him. Keep posting your questions. I will be moving outside soon. After this, I will be playing a video, something that I posted on my socials. And during that video, I'll be moving outside, and then we'll take it further outside because I think my family is about to come up here and make a lot of noise. You don't understand when three youngsters run in here and they all want tea at the same time. They come to me. So I don't want to be in the firing line of that. I'm going to leave that to my wife today. But yeah, Betway Fixtures we'll put on later as well, the Betway SA20. If you haven't heard of that, it's the South African T20 tournament. Starting on 10th of January, I'll be part of that as well, doing some commentating from time to time. It's a fantastic tournament, it really is, and I hope everyone around the world feel the same way. I think it's very entertaining. Playing in the beautiful sunny parts of South Africa during the summertime, Cape Town, in PE, Centurion, Joburg, Durban, in Paarl. There's just so many beautiful grounds around South Africa, and I really want you guys to have fun with this tournament as well. It's great that last year something that stood out to me was all the youngsters coming back to watch cricket. I very clearly remember from a very young age, between I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, my dad would always take me to cricket games live. And I remember watching a live test match at Newlands. And I didn't watch half of the game because I was in the back at the nets playing with other children that I've never met before, trying to get my 100 like big Brian McMillan just did out there, and then running back and watching Gary Kirsten hit a 4. That's what it's all about. That's where dreams are created. I remember watching Sean Pollock's first test match at Centurion Park and getting his first test wicket. And when I was 11 years old, and 9 years later, I played in the same side. I made my debut with Sean Pollock. I mean, that is just super incredible. And that's what you want. You want the youngsters at the grounds, getting autographs, taking selfies with the heroes. And then 5 or 10 years later, they actually end up playing with the heroes in the South African or the Indian side. So that's what's great about this live cricket. That's what's great about T20 cricket, bringing people back to the grounds. So once again, I would like to hear your comments, because I'm not having a go at Cricket South Africa putting up a mediocre test team. I don't think it's our best 11 or best 15 or 14 going over there, but I understand why it's happening. And I want to hear your thoughts as well. People are coming to watch cricket again because of T20 cricket. What do? Do you just axe ODIs and test matches and just focus on T20s all around the park? or do you do everything you can to save Test cricket and ODI cricket? I have my own thoughts and theories. I would like to hear what you guys say. Here's one question quickly. Can Test players form a union that demands a share of TV revenue? Absolutely. If you can find a way to get all the players stand together, you do have players boards. In South Africa, it's SACA, South African Cricket. I think Cricketers Association. They are players board. So whenever the players are unhappy, they will get a consensus and take it to Cricket South Africa, file the complaint, and then generally Cricket South Africa have to do something. They're forced to. So if you can get the players around the world stand together like this and do something about it, 100%, absolutely. But I'm afraid to say, John, there's a lot of politics in cricket. There are boards around the world that are more powerful than others. There are boards that wouldn't want anything to change. They're making so much money and they're so financially well off. Why change? Why share with everyone if we are the powerhouse, you know? So very complicated times. You'll need some incredible leaders to turn this around. Otherwise, we'll just see this thing just fade away. It's ultimately what's going to happen. Thanks for that question. We'll just quickly play you guys a video of the Betway SA20. I'm going to move outside. We're going to cover the Betway SA20 there. And then I'm going to take a few questions. There's no rush today, except for my family that will be coming up soon. They're all at the bottom of the house. I can hear them. So I'm going to close myself down outside, and then we'll take it further there. So backroom staff, members, if you can hit me with that video of the SA20 tournament, I would really appreciate that.
Back to school and back to work, but wonderful to see families coming out to support South Africa's newest domestic competition.
Bang away! Time is gone. It's gone a mile.
Alrighty, here we are. Let's just get you a bit of a view. I hope the sound and the audio is still fine, but there's the beach. I'll be swimming in that water later on today. Let me just tell you, it's the coldest water I've ever swam in my life. But my children want to swim every single day that they so I just simply cannot disappoint them. My parents are coming over here tonight. My dad told me they've got springbok fillets. I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with what I just said. Springbok is the national animal in South Africa. It's a beautiful antelope, or what do you call it? A deer? I'm not sure. Anyway, long story short, it's a beautiful animal. Go Google it. My dad somehow got hold of springbok fillets. So we are putting that on the barbecue tonight, and we're going to have a family feast over here where I am. And I simply can't wait to see my folks again. They moved from the Highveld to the coast in the last 18 months. And I must say I miss them a lot because I live up in the northern parts of South Africa in Pretoria. And they are not 5 minutes from my house anymore like they used to be. Now they are a 2-hour flight away, which is not ideal. But I'm seeing them tonight, and I'm looking forward to that. And I don't know if they really want to see me anymore. I think they're coming for the grandchildren. They're in love with the little ones. It's weird. It's the craziest thing when you become a dad, how the grandparents change. My folks, how they changed. I mean, I could see tears in my dad's eyes for the first time in my life when he saw our little ones. And I'm like, Dad, you never felt that way about me. I never saw that emotion. But it's very special to have the privilege to give that to grandparents. And I think they just realize how beautiful life is when the little ones come through, and your own son has his first child. You know, I think I understand the emotion behind it when you realize there's another generation of my bloodline. Pretty cool. Anyway, before I start crying here on air, let's start off with that Betway SA20 fixtures then, as I promised you. And we'll also have a look at the teams. I don't know if everyone's familiar with the teams. It's still a very fresh tournament. But if we can get up the fixtures and also the teams, then we'll make you guys a little bit more familiar with it all. There are the fixtures. The first game on the 10th of January, as I mentioned before. It's a short tournament, which I really love about the Betway SA20. It ends on the 10th of Feb. I'm a part of that. I'm the brand ambassador of this tournament. I'm very proud of that. Graham Smith gave me a call and said, we want you to be a part of this tournament. You played for South Africa for so long, and we need you on board with this thing. Let's make it a success. And I think Graham and his team did a fantastic job in that first season last year. This will be the start of the second season. As you can see, that first game on the 10th of Jan is at St. George's Park. It's one of my favorite grounds in Port Elizabeth. Keep an eye out to all the different grounds that you'll see in South Africa, especially St. George's, also Paul, just with that beautiful background and the mountain. India and South Africa played an ODI there recently. And then obviously Newlands in Cape Town. Wanderers, one of my favorite grounds, also Centurion. So many beautiful grounds in South Africa, and you're going to be watching all of that on TV if you're abroad. If you're in South Africa, come to the grounds, bring your children, give them that same dream that I received when I was a youngster, by watching my Euros on the field, playing live in front of my eyes, and that simply changed my life. All right, let's start with the teams then quickly. I think we'll start with the champions of last year, which was the Sunrisers Eastern Cape, captained by Aidan Markram. And there you can see the team. I'm not going to go through all the names. Some names that stand out: Simon Harmer, Sisanda Magala, Themba Bavuma, also there, Tristan Stubbs. Names that you guys will be familiar with. Some overseas legends as well. David Milan and Craig Overton, wild card there. Marco Janssen as well, the South African left-hander. Adam Rosington plays for overseas as well. And then Jordan Herman, left-hand South African batter. I'm pretty sure you'll hear from him again. He's a wonderful young talent. But the Pretoria Capitals squad then, if you guys can see, there's a lot of Indian influence here. A lot of IPL owners got involved with these teams. There you have it with the name: Sunrisers, Eastern Cape. The Pretoria Capitals, not the Delhi Capitals, but the Pretoria Capitals. So I absolutely love that. They had a fantastic tournament. The Pretoria Capitals made it to the final last year, but ended up on the losing side at the Wanderers on that day. Some incredible players here. Anrich Nortje will hopefully be fit. Adil Rashid, the leg spinner from England. Colin Ingram, strong left-arm batter. James Neesham from New Zealand coming over. Phil Salt also from England. Paul Sterling, the Irish opener. It's just great to see all these names. Steve Stolk, someone no one would have heard from before. He was in Menlo Park High School in Pretoria. I heard something about this youngster, something very special. He's been picked up as a rookie. Hopefully we see him on the park. He's a wonderful player. Riley Rousseau, one of my favorite players. I played with him. And also Will Jacks had a fantastic tournament last year. This team was captained by Wayne Parnell last year. Let's see what they come up this year. Moving on to the next two teams then. Those were your finalists last year. Then Durban's Super Giants squad. It's not the Lucknow Super Giants, but Durban Super Giants, and also the Paarl Royals, not the Rajasthan Royals. You see what's happening. It's just fantastic. I love it. Let's quickly touch on a couple of names. Keshav Maharaj in the Super Giants team there. Heinrich Klaassen, who had a wonderful World Cup in India. He's in this team. Dilshan Madhushankar, you guys heard his name over there in the ODI World Cup as well. Nicholas Puran, who's a fantastic IPL player. Quinton de Kock is in this team. Carl Abbott. This is a wonderful squad, and I'm expecting them to play better cricket this year. They didn't have a fantastic season last year. The Paarl Royals at the bottom then, if I remember correctly, my friend David Miller is there. Also Josh Butler and Jason Roy. I'm not sure who Lorcan Tucker is. We'll find out this year. And Obed McCoy, the West Indies bowler. Tabra Shamsi also in that squad. Bjorn Fortuin, Andile Pechluquayo. Dane Villiers, the old South African guy who played so well overseas in the county scene, made his name, came back, played Test cricket for South Africa, and I think he's playing county cricket again. Wonderful player and a good friend of mine. Another good squad there. But we'll move on to the next one. Let's see what the Paarl Royals come up with this season. They were one of the hot favorite teams last year, but didn't make it to that finals. The next two teams then, Mumbai Indians, Cape Town. Jofra Archer, wild card. He didn't play a lot of games last year, was injured. I love this squad, by the way. Karen Pollard, Liam Livingston, Rashid Khan, a guy whose name, when he pops up in a T20 team, that team generally does well in a T20 tournament. Ollie Stone, Tom Banton, Chris Benjamin, young South African batter who moved over to England. He plays in England. He plays his cricket there. He hits the ball, country mile. He's got all the shots, lap scoops, you name it. When he gets going, he scores you 100 or 40 balls. That's Chris Benjamin, very good youngster. Devil Brevis is one of my favorite batters. He's in this team as well. Tagisa Rabada. I mentioned most of the squad. This is a star lineup. Mumbai Indians, Cape Town. I'm expecting them as well to have a better tournament. Them and also Durban's Super Giants. Both those squads look incredibly strong. Then moving on to Joburg Super Kings, captained by Faf du Plessis. David Visser is there. Moeen Ali. Les Deploy is a young South African left-hander. Same story, plays in England. Can you hear a bit of a trend? South Africans playing in England. Romario Shepherd, Sam Cook, Wayne Matson, Zahir Khan. I think this Betway SA20 tournament has the potential to change that, where you don't have all your South African players playing abroad, but actually staying here to play in this tournament. I'm seeing the potential in what this platform can give you as a youngster. Let's hope that is what's going to happen with this Betway SA20 tournament. Who else have I missed out on? Donovan Ferreira is a very strong young South African batter. You'll hear his name. Gerald Kutsia was one of the top wicket takers in the ODI World Cup. And then Imran Tahir, that would have been influenced by Faf and also Stephen Fleming. Imi is a wonderful bowler. He takes wickets wherever he goes. He's always a great asset to have in your team, and that's a very, very good wild card pick. Ronan Herman is also a young South African. You'll hear from him. Very good player. And let's also mention that rookie at the top there, Connor Esterhuizen. It's great to see the rookies in the teams, and that's exactly what happened in the IPL many years ago. Is those rookies getting this great exposure in the IPL, and look where India cricket is today. The same will happen to South African cricket if this Betway SA20 tournament goes from strength to strength. So we need the support from the audience, from the fans. Please support this tournament. It is a huge lifeline for cricket in South Africa to really bring more money into cricket South Africa, so that can filter down to the youngsters and get South African cricket on the map. Well, we are on the map, but you know what I mean. Better than ever. Let's say that. I think those are all the teams. It's very exciting. I absolutely can't wait to watch all these games. I will be working during some of these games, doing a bit of commentating, so you'll hear my voice. You'll see me sitting on the bench with Mark Nicholas, Vernon Philander. I think JP Duminy will be part of some of the games, perhaps. Kevin Peterson was here last year, so let's see if we can pick up that atmosphere again and get the spirit going. But we need your support, so please watch the games. And if you're here in South Africa, beautiful sunny South Africa, come and watch the games live and bring your family. All right, Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm pretty sure it's not the real Cristiano Ronaldo, but thanks for this question. SA20 will soon become the second biggest league after the IPL. Well, let me tell you, it's the second best paid league in the world after the IPL. The players earn the most money in this tournament than anywhere else in the world except for the IPL. So that already is huge. I never saw that coming, but that's the influence of some of the owners from India. And that's what Graham Smith succeeded in really making sure this tournament's a bit of a magnet to some of the best players in the world. If you get the best players in the world on the park, there will be a hype. There will be youngsters that will want to see Jofra Archer bowl at 150 kilometers an hour at Newlands or in Joburg. And the youngsters will go and watch the games. The youngsters will start dreaming, and the youngsters will play cricket and ultimately become the next superheroes. That's what you want. That's a healthy system. So it's great what Graham and them and the team achieved, and I'm very proud to be part of this tournament. But spot on, Cristiano Ronaldo. Thanks for that question. Let's move on to the next one then. What is the time now? Quick time check, 9:32 over here in South Africa. I'll be taking a few more questions, and then I'll move on. We've only been 32 minutes into the session. It's great to be talking to you all, and I'm not getting another question. Team, can you please put up another quick queue? Otherwise, I can talk about quickly there. You see, that's the size of the beach. There, it starts there, and it ends there. And over there, where's my finger? Wait, over there. 3 days ago, there were about 100 dolphins showing off, giving us the time of our lives. My kids were on the balcony here going crazy. There were some people, let me just get my there, jumping in the ocean there with flippers on. swimming into the waves and ultimately catching waves with the dolphins. I was very jealous, but I was very happy that I was just here witnessing the dolphins jumping in the waves, really putting up a show, and it was absolutely incredible to see. Wesley's Way, Cape Town. Let's take another question then. Hey, AB, what were your thoughts on the Newlands wicket and why weren't we gifted a third test? I'm very upset about the fact that we didn't get a third test. Once again, you got to blame T20 cricket around the world, the ICC, the scheduling. I don't know who there is to blame. All I know is something is not right. And if you want to see more test cricket, things are going to have to change. There will be enough cricket between India, Australia, and England. I can tell you that. But if you want to see all the teams in the world competing to see who's the best test team in the world, something will have to change. But let's see what they come up with. They are under pressure. They know they are. And we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Then on the Newlands wicket, it was pretty stock standard, in my opinion. I remember jumping around there on day one. As I mentioned before, if you can just get through the first session on day one, it gets a lot easier. And things change. You could see that the players that were actually positive, that play positive cricket and didn't try and hang around, they were the guys doing well. I think of a Ben Stokes who scored a double hundred there. I personally scored a few hundreds as well, playing attacking cricket. You can't just allow seamers like Vern Philander, Bumrah, Siraj, Rabada, back in the day, Pat Cummins, Hazelwood. You can't allow them just to bowl over the off stump. I actually tried that once where we tried to save a test match in Newlands. I played a very long innings blocking around, and I just knew one of them had my number on it. So it's just one of those wickets. There's a ball that's got its number, your number on it. And if you can get to 100 before then, credit to you. Look at Aiden Markram's 100 that he scored. 100 at almost a run a ball. He played attacking cricket, getting down the wicket. I always felt batting outside my crease a little bit on off stump worked wonders for me in Newlands, taking the LBW and bowl dismissal out of play, and then just leaving well. If you're on off stump, you know anything outside your eye line is not hitting the stumps, you can let it go. Because there were a lot of dismissals nicked off or edged to the slips. So if you can get rid of that and force the bowlers to come straight into your pads, force them to drag down a bit, you want to pull and cut on that wicket. And those are the players that did well. So yes, tricky wicket, but I would say pretty poor batting at times. Fantastic bowling, tough wicket. I'm not having a go at the batters, but the batting lineup of the South Africans were very inexperienced and didn't do little things of what I just mentioned now, coming down the wicket, batting like a good half a meter outside your crease and an off stump. You saw Virat doing it. He didn't have his best test ever, but he scored some runs. He scored valuable runs for India. And the players that played attacking cricket, Markram coming down the wicket, getting in line with the bowler's eye line to the stumps and really irritating the bowler in that way. Then the bowler thinking, okay, then now I'm going to bounce you out. And that's not what you want to try and do at the Newlands wicket. You want to be full and you want the batters to drive on the up. So there you have it. That's the long and the short of the Newlands wicket. I've had some success there in the past. I've also looked like a number 11 batter there in the past. That's the nature of the beast. But fortune favors the brave. The attacking batters generally do well there. The guys that have experience, that keep their head upright, they do the basics well, but they don't stand back and just feel for it around off stump. Thanks, Wesley. Some good questions there. Ayush, Markram played a great knock, but does he need to soften his grip for consistent performances? Absolutely not, Sean Pollock. I said this. No, I'm kidding. Polly and I have spoken about this before. I've spoken to Aiden about this while we were playing together many, many years ago. He's one of the best players I've ever seen play cricket, but his defense, and I saw that clearly now on this Newlands test, even though he got a fantastic 100, while he scored that 100, these defensive shots, let me just show you like this. When he decides he's going to block, okay, now so the ball's coming, you pick up, hold on, this is a very good delivery. So what the best batters in the world do is they don't let this angle of the bat go. Where Aiden's angle goes there, that's his defense. Best players in the world, that's the angle of their bat. Look at Virat defending. Boom. He doesn't defend like that. That's asking for trouble. So that's the only flaw in Aiden Markram's game, is once again a bowler like Vernon Philander hardly ever makes a mistake. He bowls around off stump, one nips in, one nips out the whole day. If Aiden blocks at him the whole time like that with hard hands and a blade that's pretty upright and not like that, he's going to find that edge more often than not. And that's the only thing that Aiden Markram needs to work on, is understanding, am I going to attack? If he attacks, he's one of the best players in the world, full stop. But when he decides to block, to keep that angle of the bat like that, if they can manage to do that, I'm pretty sure we'll see him in the top 5 list in all formats of cricket. And I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. I believe he's good enough to make those changes. And it's not rocket science. He's a good enough player to figure it out. Hopefully he's listening. But that's always what I spoke to him about, is playing the ball a bit later. And maybe that confused him. It's not really playing the ball later. It's making sure the angle of your bat is still at a 45-degree angle, more or less, when you're blocking the ball. And you cannot do that with your blade. And that's what the commentators, when they always say, he's pushing at the ball. It's not pushing at the ball. It is, but it's that blade just straightening up a touch. And that is asking for big trouble. You get caught in the covers a lot when the ball stands up a touch, and you'll find that outside edge a lot. All right, next question then. Another good one. Ayush Prajwal will fill the shoes of Dean Elgar. Dean Elgar, I get what you're saying there. I'm not sure. You don't see a lot of those nitty-gritty test players anymore these days. He's one of those players. No one gave him a chance early on in his career. He had what could I say? Let's say not a perfect technique always. Really sort of playing across it at times. Sometimes pushing at wide ones. A lot of things, you can say a lot of things about Dean Elgar's technique, but you can write a book about his mind and his heart and his spirit. I was very good friends with him when we played together. We understood each other because I was a very similar player. Yes, a lot of people tipped me off as a very talented player and you're gifted and things came easier for you. I promise you that I had to work for every single thing that came my way in my career, and that's the way Dean Elgar plays his cricket. So I would always really enjoy test cricket and the harder wickets you got when you had to fight through it and when you can walk off after a session. And the two of us did this many times, walking off. I clearly remember one of my last series that I played against India at Centurion Park, walking off one of the hardest wickets I ever played on, and the two of us were there looking at each other, and we just nodded. We didn't even say a word. We knew that is what you need to win test matches. And there was a bit of fight. There were body shots. There was balls on the head. There were plays and misses. We had to adapt, come down the wicket, get on off stump, block the line of the stumps at time for the bowlers. But that's the beauty of test cricket, and that's what Dean Elgar brought to the table. And I don't know if that is replaceable. Stats are always replaceable. Average of 50. He's a wonderful player. But he can't replace heart and mind. And a Graham Smith, for instance, same guy, fighter. He would put his body and everything on the line for his country and his team. That's irreplaceable. So I don't know who's going to fill the shoes. Hopefully there's another one of those kind of players that'll come through. I think that we do have some of them. Maybe perhaps a Rassie van der Dissen can be called back. Heinrich Klaassen. Who else is there? Kaya Zondo. I don't know who's better and who's not. I'm thinking of fighters. 3 names I mentioned now. I know all have been through a lot of ups and downs in their career and have got a bit of fight in them. And then you need to ask yourself, is the guy good enough to be there? They will have to put up their own hands to make that squad. So let's see who will fill the shoes. Next question then. Suraj, AB, what do you think about the new quality of youngsters of the Proteas like Nandre Burger and David Bedingham? I was very, very impressed with both of them. I spoke about Nandre Burger in the previous show that I did, but I haven't mentioned anything about David Bedingham before. David Bedingham played his cricket in Pretoria. I heard his name many, many times, but never came across him really and never watched him play up until now. Mightily impressed. And I think he's got a very bright future. He's already 29 years old. Very similar story to a Michael Hussey. So hopefully the selectors will stick with him, give him his fair chance of 5 to 10 test matches before they decide to pull the plug. Because I feel this guy has done enough to show that he's got what it takes to be a fantastic test player for South Africa. He's got an interesting technique, very upright. He's also a little bit pushy at balls from time to time, similar to a Markram, but very steady. When the bowlers come straight, I feel his technique is almost perfect. where he plays the ball under his eyes nice and late. It's just that little bit outside off area where he's got hard hands, and I feel that blade gets a bit straight from time to time. But wonderful player, and Nandre Burger, big heart. You can see that in the celebration of the wickets that he gets. It's all passion, pure pride, playing for his country, and I love players like that. And both these players have bright futures, and I'm looking forward to watch them play many games, many a game in the future. There are also quite a few other standout players in the series. I think Nandre Burger and Marco Jansen, the two left-handers, bowled nicely. Also Gerald Coetzee when he had his opportunity. And then Kagiso Rabada showing that he's the leader. Everyone were a little bit worried about him and his form. And then he came to the party and he put up his hand and showed what he's capable of. So very happy with KG. He's still youngish, so he's still got a few years left in the tank. And he's got to be that leader for us in that attack. Thanks, Suraj. Moving on to the next one then. I am from Bangladesh, and SA and Bangladesh are both in Group D of T20 World Cup. Apparently the group of death. So what are your two top teams from Group D? I'm not sure. South Africa, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Netherlands, and Nepal. I won't say that's the group of death. That's a pretty easy group, I would say. That's a nice group to be in. Yes. Netherlands have improved their cricket of late, but South Africa should beat them. Also Nepal, but anything can happen. I don't want to jinx my team, but yes, I think South Africa, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, three good teams. Netherlands, Nepal, outside chance to make it. There are much harder groups than that, guys. Australia, India, West Indies, England, Pakistan. There are lots of other tougher groups, I would say. But it's nice to see the fixtures are out, and we're all very much looking forward to that World Cup starting. Let me just open up a quick link here and read a little bit about this World Cup, the groups. India, Pakistan in the same group I see here. That's going to be very interesting. Let me just quickly close this tab. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go, India and Pakistan in the same group. I don't think there's time for me to read through that. But anyway, you can read the article on Sports Star when you get it a moment. And there's more information about the World Cup on there. So you go and have a look at that. Any other questions then before I finish off? Vihan, what do you feel about Steve Smith saying that he can open in David Warner's absence? Interesting. I think he's got the capabilities. And he's certainly capable of doing that. He's a wonderful player, but he's not the same as David Warner. Although David Warner's got a lot more conservative in his last few years in T20 cricket. He bats more around a runner ball for a period of time and then starts going a bit. So he's not really that aggressive. If they need that kind of role up the order, Australia now, then Steve Smith would play that role exceptionally well. So it's not a bad call, that. And we'll take one more question then, guys, before I'm going to shut it down. We're pushing on to 50 minutes here, and I don't want to bore you guys. I'm also running out of fresh air, and I need to get into the cold waters of the ocean. Do you think T20 leagues will completely finish international cricket like football? I'm a big fan of yours. Thank you very much for that. I don't think it will finish both Test cricket and ODIs, but I do think it's put a lot of pressure on ODIs, in my opinion, not so much Test cricket. I think Test cricket still has a bright future. I think there's still enough people around the world to want to watch it, to want to play it, and that's the ultimate form of the game. When I watch cricket on television, I would watch every ball of a Test series. The India-South Africa series now, I watched most of it. It was Dean Elgar's last Test match. I watched almost every ball. I watched Virat playing. I love watching him moving around with his technique. I love watching the rhythm of the game, how the batters try and lower the danger of getting out, how they come out of the crease and move across to the off stump, how the bowlers work the batters out with a couple of short balls, then putting one a bit wider and fuller with the slip cording in place. It's just the ultimate form of the game. ODIs after this World Cup, I feel, is under big pressure. I don't think it was the most followed World Cup ever, except for the finals maybe. But during the tournament, I was quite worried about what I saw there, and just the the atmosphere and the excitement about it wasn't as good as I've seen it in the past. So let's see what they come up with. I do know that the ICC have a bit of work and a bit of admin on their plates to fix this. But I don't know. Maybe the ODI format will change into two 20-over games, maybe where they change the teams halfway and it becomes a 40-over game. But the team batting second or the second game, you've got the ability or the chance to change your team. And also the team that batted first in the first game must bat second in the second game. And then you can change your 15-man squad and go into the second game, which will sort of take the toss away from it a bit, because I feel the toss played too much of a role in that ODI World Cup. But I do feel ODIs are under more pressure than Test cricket. Let's see what happens in the future. I just want the game to be healthy and to be strong, and for youngsters to dream and to want to play and to want to be superstars one day. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me in this week's 360 Live. I'm out of breath. I need some fresh air, and I'm going to jump in the fresh waters over there and hopefully swim with a dolphin or two. Also, subscribe to my channel, please. Let's get a bit of a vibe going on this channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell notification. Also, follow me on socials to get updates. And we're going to be having some fun in 2024. By the way, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope the celebrations went deep into the night on the 31st of December 23, because I'm pretty happy that the year was just gone. And it's a fresh year with new dreams and new things to take on, new challenges. I'll be traveling to India quite a few times this year. I'll see you guys over there. For those of you who live over there in Mumbai, I'll be spending a bit of time over there, maybe in Bangalore as well. And looking forward to that IPL coming up this year as well. There, you see my socials down below. I'll keep you guys updated and posted. And I will also be sharing some private and personal photos of my holidays over there on socials over the next few days. But have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next week. Take care and see you soon.